In a world that rewards noise, speed, and constant self-promotion, it's easy to believe that confidence must always be loud. We're surrounded by people who announce their plans before they begin, defend themselves before they are attacked, and seek validation before results ever appear. This constant pressure to explain, to prove, to perform can leave us exhausted, anxious, and disconnected from our true sense of self. Yet there is another way to live, a quieter way, a stronger way. Imagine moving through life without the need to impress, argue, or justify yourself. Imagine acting with calm certainty, focused effort, and inner stability, while allowing your actions, not your words, to speak on your behalf. This is not weakness, this is not passivity. This is the essence of Stoic confidence. Stoicism teaches us that real power is internal. It does not depend on applause, approval, or recognition. It is built through discipline, clarity, and consistent action aligned with reason and virtue. When you act from this place, you don't need to announce who you are. The results reveal it for you. In this series, we will explore 12 important lessons from Stoicism that show how to live with quiet confidence and let results speak. These lessons are not abstract ideas meant only for philosophers. They are practical tools for daily life. Tools that help you remain steady under pressure, focused amid distraction, and confident without arrogance. Before we dive into the first principle, I want you to do one small thing. If this message already resonates with you, like this video, comment your affirmation, "My silence is my power." Share it with someone who needs this, and subscribe for more Stoic growth content. Your engagement is more than support. It's a reminder to yourself that your peace and quiet strength matter more than anyone else's opinion. Each principle builds on the last, guiding you toward a life where your presence is calm, your actions are deliberate, and your character is undeniable. Let us begin with the foundation of it all. Principle number 1, control what is yours, release the rest. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies one simple but life-altering truth. Some things are within your control, and some things are not. Quiet confidence begins the moment you fully understand and accept this distinction. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic teachers, opened his teachings with this principle. He explained that our opinions, choices, desires, and actions belong to us. They are ours to shape, discipline, and refine. Everything else, other people's opinions, outcomes, recognition, praise, criticism, and external events, exists outside our control. Most anxiety, insecurity, and frustration come from trying to control what was never ours to command. When you seek validation from others, you hand them power over your emotional state. When you obsess over how you are perceived, you become reactive instead of intentional. When you demand immediate results, you rush the process and weaken your resolve. Stoicism teaches you to step back from this struggle and redirect your energy inward. Quiet confidence grows when you invest fully in what you can govern. This means focusing on the quality of your effort, not the reaction it receives. It means acting according to reason and values, not according to praise or fear. When your attention is anchored to your own conduct, you no longer need to defend yourself or explain your path. You simply walk it. Think of a craftsman deeply focused on their work. They are not distracted by who is watching or judging. Their attention is on precision, improvement, and mastery. This inward focus produces excellence over time, and excellence rarely needs to announce itself. Stoicism reminds us that results are a byproduct, not a demand. When you obsess over outcomes, you become tense and impatient. When you focus on right action, outcomes unfold naturally. Some may arrive quickly, others may take time. but they will be rooted in substance, not noise. Releasing what you cannot control is not resignation. It is strategic clarity. It allows you to conserve mental energy, remain emotionally balanced, and act consistently even when circumstances are uncertain. Instead of reacting to every opinion or obstacle, you remain grounded. Instead of proving yourself through words, you prove yourself through endurance. This lesson also teaches humility. You realize that not everything needs your response. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Not every challenge requires force. Sometimes the most powerful action is restraint. The quiet decision to stay aligned with your principles regardless of what unfolds around you. When you fully accept this Stoic distinction, confidence stops being something you perform. It becomes something you embody. You stop asking, "How do I look?" and start asking, "Am I acting rightly?" From that place, your presence changes. You speak less, but with purpose. You act steadily, without panic, and over time, people notice, not because you demanded attention, but because your consistency made it unavoidable. This is where quiet confidence is born, in mastering what is yours and peacefully releasing the rest. Principle number 2, act without announcement. One of the clearest signs of true confidence is silence before success. In a world where people rush to declare their intentions, Stoicism teaches a quieter discipline. Act first, speak later, if at all. This lesson is central to living with calm authority and allowing results to speak on your behalf. The Stoics understood something deeply countercultural, even by today's standards. They knew that excessive talking often weakens resolve. When you announce your plans too early, you expose them to doubt, distraction, and the opinions of others. You also create an illusion of progress, mistaking words for action. Quiet confidence, by contrast, is built in private, through consistent effort that does not require an audience. Marcus Aurelius warned against performative virtue. He believed that a good person does not need to advertise their goodness. The same applies to ambition, discipline, and growth. When your focus shifts from doing the work to being seen doing the work, your energy becomes divided. Stoicism calls you back to unity of purpose. Acting without announcement requires self-trust. It means you no longer need external validation to begin. You don't need applause to stay motivated. Your commitment is internal, rooted in reason and long-term vision rather than immediate recognition. This inner alignment is what makes Stoic confidence so stable. It does not fluctuate with praise or criticism. There is also a strategic strength in silence. When you move quietly, you reduce interference. You are not pulled into unnecessary explanations or debates. You are not tempted to defend progress that is still fragile. Instead, you give your efforts time to mature. Like a seed growing underground, real progress often happens unseen. Stoicism teaches patience here. Results that last are rarely rushed. When you allow your actions to develop without pressure, they gain depth and resilience. You become less reactive and more deliberate. You stop chasing approval and start building substance. This lesson also guards against ego. Speaking too much about your goals can inflate your sense of achievement before anything has been earned. The Stoics warned that pride without foundation leads to disappointment. By staying quiet and focused, you remain grounded. Your confidence is not based on potential, but on discipline. Importantly, acting without announcement does not mean secrecy driven by fear. It is not about hiding. It is about prioritizing action over appearance. When results finally appear, they carry more weight because they were not promised, they were delivered. Over time, this approach changes how others perceive you. People begin to trust your words because they are backed by evidence. They listen when you speak because you do so sparingly. Your presence feels solid, not performative. Quiet confidence grows when you let go of the urge to be seen starting and commit fully to finishing. You stop saying, "Watch what I'm going to do," and instead allow life to say, "Look at what they've done." This is the Stoic way: disciplined action, minimal noise, undeniable results. Principle number 3. Remain steady under judgment. If you act quietly and consistently, judgment will come. This is inevitable. People will form opinions, offer criticism, speculate about your motives, or misunderstand your intentions. Stoicism does not promise freedom from judgment, but it teaches you how to remain unmoved by it. Quiet confidence depends on emotional independence. When your sense of worth rises and falls with the opinions of others, you are no longer in control of yourself. Epictetus reminded his students that if someone speaks poorly of you, they are only speaking about what they believe, not about who you truly are. Their judgment exists in their mind, not in your character. The Stoic response to judgment is not defensiveness, anger, or withdrawal. It is steadiness. This steadiness comes from self-knowledge. When you clearly understand your values, intentions, and efforts, external opinions lose much of their power. You do not need to argue with every critique or correct every misunderstanding. You already know whether you are acting rightly. That knowledge becomes your anchor. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about this in his private reflections. He reminded himself that others would act according to their nature, just as he must act according to his. Their reactions were not his responsibility. His responsibility was to remain just, disciplined, and rational, regardless of how he was perceived. This mindset transforms how you experience criticism. Instead of reacting immediately, you pause. You examine the judgment calmly. If there is something useful within it, you take it without resentment. If there is nothing of value, you let it pass without resistance. In both cases, your inner balance remains intact. Remaining steady under judgment also means resisting the urge to seek approval as a shield against criticism. Approval is unstable. It disappears as quickly as it appears. Stoicism teaches that confidence built on approval is fragile, while confidence built on character is enduring. There is also humility in this lesson. You accept that not everyone will understand your path. Not everyone will agree with your choices, and that is not a failure. It is a natural consequence of individuality. Expecting universal approval is unrealistic and exhausting. When you stop demanding that others see you correctly, you free yourself from constant emotional labor. You no longer rehearse explanations in your mind. You no longer feel compelled to defend your every move. You conserve energy for what truly matters: action, improvement, and integrity. Over time, this composure becomes visible. People sense when someone is not easily shaken. Your calm response to judgment communicates strength more clearly than any argument ever could. Silence, when paired with consistency, becomes a form of authority. The Stoics believed that character reveals itself in endurance. Anyone can appear confident when praised. True confidence shows itself when tested. By remaining steady under judgment, you demonstrate that your self-worth is self-governed. You no longer ask, "What will they think?" You ask, "Am I acting in accordance with reason and virtue?" When the answer is yes, judgment loses its grip. This is quiet confidence in its mature form, unreactive, grounded, and deeply self-assured. Principle number 4, turn obstacles into silent proof. One of the most powerful ideas in Stoic philosophy is this: what stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius wrote these words to remind himself that obstacles are not interruptions to progress. They are opportunities to demonstrate strength, discipline, and character. Quiet confidence is not built in comfort. It is forged in resistance. When difficulties arise, most people react in one of two ways. They complain loudly, or they withdraw silently in defeat. Stoicism offers a third path: calm engagement. Instead of dramatizing hardship or allowing it to discourage you, you use it as raw material for growth. You do not announce the struggle. You let your response become the message. Every obstacle tests your principles. Delays test patience. Criticism tests composure. Failure tests perseverance. The Stoic does not waste energy wishing these tests away. They accept them as part of the human experience and focus on responding well. This response, repeated over time, becomes visible proof of inner strength. There is a quiet dignity in this approach. When you face difficulty without complaint, you communicate resilience. When you adapt instead of resisting reality, you demonstrate intelligence. When you continue working despite setbacks, you reveal commitment. None of this requires explanation. The evidence appears through consistency. Stoicism teaches that obstacles only harm us if we allow them to damage our inner state. External events cannot touch your character unless you surrender control. By choosing to respond with reason rather than emotion, you transform adversity into discipline. This lesson also trains humility. Obstacles remind you that life is not obligated to be smooth. They strip away entitlement and replace it with realism. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the Stoic asks, "How should I respond to this wisely?" That shift changes everything. Suddenly, obstacles become teachers rather than enemies. Each challenge refines your patience, sharpens your judgment, and strengthens your endurance. Over time, your capacity expands. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. What once discouraged you now barely slows you down. Others notice this transformation. They may not see the internal struggle, but they see the outcome. They see someone who remains composed under pressure, someone who adapts instead of collapses, someone who continues moving forward without bitterness. This is silent proof, far more persuasive than any claim of strength. Importantly, Stoicism does not encourage suffering for its own sake. It encourages meaningful engagement with reality as it is. You don't romanticize hardship, but you don't flee from it either. You meet it calmly, extract its lesson, and continue on your path. This mindset also protects you from victimhood. When you see obstacles as opportunities for agency rather than injustice, you retain power. You stop waiting for conditions to improve and start improving your response to conditions. Quiet confidence grows each time you face resistance without losing direction. You stop announcing how hard things are. You stop explaining why progress is slow. You simply continue steadily, intelligently, and without noise. In doing so, your life becomes evidence. Principle number 5. Master emotion without suppressing it. Quiet confidence is often misunderstood as emotional coldness. Stoicism, however, teaches something far more refined. Feel fully, but respond wisely. The Stoic does not deny emotion. They refuse to be ruled by it. Emotions arise naturally. Anger, fear, excitement, disappointment, these are part of being human. The problem begins when emotion dictates action without the guidance of reason. In those moments, confidence collapses into impulsiveness, and strength turns into regret. Epictetus taught that emotions are not caused by events themselves, but by the judgments we attach to them. This insight changes how you relate to your inner world. Instead of fighting emotions or being ashamed of them, you observe them. You ask where they come from. You question the assumptions beneath them. This pause is where mastery begins. When anger arises, you do not immediately speak. When fear appears, you do not instantly retreat. When excitement surfaces, you do not rush blindly forward. You create space between feeling and action. In that space, reason regains authority. Mastery of emotion does not mean emotional absence. It means emotional literacy. You recognize what you feel without letting it define what you do. This ability stabilizes your behavior. Others may react dramatically to stress, praise, or insult. You remain measured. Over time, this consistency becomes a hallmark of your presence. Stoicism emphasizes practice here. Emotional mastery is not achieved through a single insight, but through repeated awareness. Each day offers opportunities to observe yourself. Each interaction reveals patterns. With patience, you begin to respond differently, not perfectly, but progressively. This discipline also protects your energy. Emotional overreaction drains focus and creates unnecessary conflict. By responding calmly, you preserve mental clarity. You conserve strength for meaningful action rather than emotional fallout. There is also a deep confidence that comes from self-command. When you know that your emotions will not hijack your decisions, you trust yourself more. You move through challenges with steadiness rather than volatility. This trust becomes the foundation of quiet authority. Stoicism also teaches compassion toward yourself in this process. You will not always respond perfectly. You will sometimes react before reflecting. The key is not self-criticism, but correction. Each misstep becomes feedback, not failure. As this mastery develops, others feel it. Conversations become calmer around you. Conflict de-escalates in your presence. People sense that you are not easily provoked or manipulated. This emotional independence is rare and powerful. Quiet confidence is not loud certainty. It is calm self-governance. You do not need to suppress emotion to be strong. You need to understand it, guide it, and place it in service of reason. Principle number 6. Practice patience and long-term vision. Quiet confidence cannot survive impatience. When you demand immediate results, quick recognition, or fast rewards, you place your peace at the mercy of time. Stoicism teaches the opposite approach. Commit to the long arc and act without urgency. The Stoics understood that anything meaningful unfolds slowly. Character, skill, wisdom, and reputation are not built in bursts. They are shaped through sustained effort. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that nature works gradually, never in haste, yet always with precision. To live according to nature is to respect this pace. Patience is not passivity. It is disciplined endurance. When you act with long-term vision, you stop measuring progress by days and begin measuring it by direction. You no longer panic when results are delayed. You trust the process because you are aligned with it. This trust quiets anxiety and stabilizes confidence. Impatience often disguises itself as ambition. You may feel driven, restless, eager to advance, but beneath that urgency is fear. Fear of falling behind, fear of being overlooked, fear of wasted effort. Stoicism asks you to confront that fear directly and replace it with reasoned commitment. What matters is not speed, but consistency. The Stoic invests energy daily, even when feedback is minimal. They understand that effort compounds invisibly before it becomes visible. Like roots growing underground, progress strengthens long before it appears above the surface. This understanding allows you to remain calm while others rush. Long-term vision also guards against burnout. When you accept that your path is measured in years rather than moments, you pace yourself. You choose sustainability over intensity. This steadiness preserves clarity and prevents emotional extremes. Stoicism teaches that impatience weakens judgment. When you rush decisions, you sacrifice depth for immediacy. When you chase shortcuts, you compromise integrity. Patience, by contrast, creates room for reflection. It allows you to choose wisely rather than react quickly. This lesson also reshapes how you experience setbacks. A delay no longer feels like failure. A slow period no longer feels like stagnation. You see each phase as part of a larger rhythm. This perspective keeps you grounded and resilient. Others may not understand your pace. Some may question why you are not louder, faster, or more aggressive. But quiet confidence does not require their understanding. It requires alignment with your values and trust in your trajectory. Over time, patience becomes visible in your demeanor. You appear unhurried, deliberate, composed. You are not easily rattled by urgency or comparison. This calm presence signals depth and maturity, qualities that cannot be rushed. The Stoics believed that those who endure quietly often outlast those who sprint noisily. You stop asking, "Why hasn't it happened yet?" and start affirming, "I am building something that lasts." This is quiet confidence anchored in time, not impulse. Principle number 7, act with integrity when no one is watching. Quiet confidence reaches its deepest level when your behavior does not change based on who is observing you. Stoicism places immense value on integrity, not as a public performance but as a private discipline. This lesson teaches that true strength is revealed in solitude, not in applause. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations as private reminders never intended for an audience. This alone reflects a core Stoic belief. The most important work happens when no one is watching. Your character is shaped in unseen moments, how you think, choose, and act when there is no reward or recognition. Integrity means alignment between values and actions. When your inner principles guide your behavior consistently, confidence becomes stable. You no longer fear exposure because there is no contradiction to hide. You are the same person in private as you are in public. This coherence creates a deep sense of self-trust. Stoicism teaches that external praise is unreliable. People may admire you today and criticize you tomorrow. If your motivation depends on their approval, your actions will shift with their opinions. Integrity frees you from this instability. You act rightly because it is right, not because it is noticed. There is also a quiet freedom in this lesson. When you stop performing for others, you conserve energy. You no longer maintain multiple versions of yourself. You simplify. Your decisions become clearer because they are guided by principle rather than image. Acting with integrity also strengthens resilience. When challenges arise, you are not shaken by guilt or self-doubt. You know you have acted honestly and thoughtfully. This inner clarity becomes a source of calm during uncertainty. The Stoics believed that virtue is its own reward. Justice, discipline, courage, and wisdom do not require applause to be valuable. They are valuable because they shape a strong, reliable character. When you embody these virtues privately, they naturally express themselves publicly without effort or announcement. Integrity also sharpens judgment. When you are not tempted to cut corners for appearance or approval, you make decisions with long-term consequences in mind. You choose what sustains your character rather than what enhances your image. Others sense this consistency. Even if they cannot articulate it, they feel it. They trust you more. They respect your steadiness. Your words carry weight because they align with your actions. Quiet confidence does not need to declare honesty or discipline. It demonstrates them through consistency. You do the right thing when it is easy. You do the right thing when it is hard. And most importantly, you do the right thing when no one would ever know otherwise. This is Stoic integrity, the foundation of a life that needs no defense. Principle number 8, practice restraint and know when not to act. In a world that glorifies constant action, Stoicism teaches a quieter, more disciplined power. Restraint. True confidence is not proven by how often you act, but by how wisely you choose when to act and when not to. Many mistakes are not caused by inaction, but by unnecessary action. Speaking too quickly, responding emotionally, forcing outcomes. Stoic philosophy reminds us that every impulse does not deserve expression. Sometimes the strongest response is deliberate restraint. Epictetus emphasized that self-mastery is superior to domination of others. If you cannot control your impulses, reactions, or urges, you are not free. Restraint is the practice that restores this freedom. It places reason above impulse and intention above instinct. This lesson begins with awareness. Before acting, the Stoic pauses. They ask, is this necessary? Is this within my control? Does this align with my values? This brief reflection often prevents regret. Restraint is especially powerful in moments of emotional intensity. Anger urges you to speak. Pride urges you to boast. Fear urges you to retreat. Stoicism teaches you to acknowledge these urges without obeying them. By delaying reaction, you regain authority over yourself. There is also strength in silence. Not every disagreement needs a response. Not every provocation deserves engagement. When you refuse to be pulled into unnecessary conflict, you protect your energy and preserve clarity. This selective engagement is a mark of maturity. Restraint also applies to ambition. The Stoic does not chase every opportunity. They choose carefully, guided by long-term purpose rather than short-term excitement. By saying no to what distracts, they say yes to what matters. This discipline builds trust in yourself. When you consistently act only after reflection, your decisions improve. You begin to rely on your judgment rather than impulse. This reliability becomes a source of calm confidence. Others may misinterpret restraint as weakness or hesitation. Stoicism teaches you to accept this misunderstanding without correction. Those who understand restraint recognize its strength. Those who do not are not your concern. Over time, restraint shapes your presence. You appear thoughtful rather than reactive, composed rather than impulsive. Your actions carry weight because they are intentional, not frequent. Quiet confidence often speaks through what you choose not to do. You do not rush to defend your ego. You do not rush to prove your worth. You do not rush to react. Instead, you wait. You observe. You act only when reason calls for it. This is Stoic restraint, the discipline that transforms calm into power. Principle number 9. Accept reality without resignation. One of the most misunderstood Stoic teachings is acceptance. Many mistake it for passivity or surrender. In truth, Stoic acceptance is a form of strength. It means seeing reality clearly without denial or resistance, and then acting wisely within it. Quiet confidence depends on this clarity. When you fight reality, complaining about what should not have happened, resenting what cannot be changed, you drain yourself emotionally. Resistance does not alter facts, it only multiplies frustration. The Stoics taught that peace begins the moment you stop arguing with reality. Acceptance does not mean approval. It means recognition. You acknowledge what is happening as it is, not as you wish it to be. From this grounded position, your actions become more effective. You no longer waste energy on anger or regret. You redirect that energy toward what can still be shaped, your response. Epictetus reminded his students that events are neutral. It is our interpretation that makes them painful or manageable. When you accept this, you reclaim control over your inner state. External circumstances lose their power to disturb you. This lesson is especially important during loss, failure, or disappointment. When something does not go as planned, the untrained mind panics or collapses. The Stoic mind pauses, accepts the reality of the situation, and asks a better question: what is required of me now? Acceptance sharpens focus. Instead of replaying what went wrong, you assess what remains possible. Instead of blaming others or fate, you strengthen adaptability. This mindset keeps you moving forward without bitterness. There is also dignity in acceptance. When you meet hardship without complaint, you communicate self-respect. You show that your stability does not depend on comfort. Others may struggle loudly against circumstances. You move quietly within them. Stoicism also teaches acceptance of people as they are. Much frustration comes from expecting others to behave differently. When you accept human nature, its flaws, limitations, and unpredictability, you reduce disappointment. This does not mean tolerating harm, but it does mean releasing unrealistic expectations. Acceptance creates emotional balance. You stop oscillating between hope and despair. You become steady. This steadiness becomes visible in your tone, posture, and decisions. You appear grounded because you are no longer fighting the present moment. Importantly, Stoic acceptance is paired with responsibility. You accept what you cannot change, and you act decisively on what you can. This balance prevents both helplessness and recklessness. Quiet confidence lives in this balance. You do not waste words resisting reality. You do not dramatize circumstances. You accept, adjust, and advance. When you live this way, life becomes less of a battle and more of a discipline. Principle number 10. Live in alignment with nature and reason. Quiet confidence grows from harmony. Harmony with yourself, with the world, and with the natural order of things. For the Stoics, living according to nature was not about wandering forests or renouncing society. It was about understanding your role as a rational and social being and acting in accordance with reason. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that humans are part of a larger whole. To live well is to recognize your connection to the world and fulfill your duties with wisdom, courage, and integrity. This principle transforms how you approach your daily life, challenges, and relationships. Living according to nature starts with self-awareness. You examine your values, intentions, and capacities. You identify what is truly under your control and what is not. By doing so, you avoid wasting energy on vain pursuits or trying to impose your will on forces beyond you. Your energy is focused on thoughtful action, not frustrated struggle. This alignment also involves cultivating virtue. The Stoics emphasized 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, seeing clearly, judging accurately, and making informed choices; courage, facing fear, uncertainty, or adversity with determination; justice, treating others fairly and acting with integrity; temperance, maintaining balance, self-control, and moderation. When you consistently apply these virtues, your actions naturally align with reason and nature. You become steady, reliable, and deeply respected, not because you seek admiration, but because your character speaks for itself. Living according to nature also requires understanding life's cycles. Growth, change, decay, and renewal are inevitable. By accepting these cycles, you cultivate resilience. You understand that setbacks are part of the natural order, and no external event can diminish your inner stability. This principle extends to relationships. As social beings, humans are interconnected. Acting in alignment with nature means contributing positively to your community, helping where you can, and practicing empathy and compassion. Your confidence is not fragile or isolated. It thrives in connection with others, grounded in understanding and mutual respect. Finally, living according to nature encourages simplicity. Stoicism teaches that external wealth, status, or recognition are fleeting. True fulfillment arises from focusing on what truly matters: character, wisdom, meaningful relationships, and purposeful action. By letting go of distractions and superficial desires, you conserve energy and live intentionally. Quiet confidence manifests when your life reflects these principles. You act with reason, not impulse. You respond to challenges in harmony with virtue. You focus on what you can control, accepting what you cannot. You move through the world with purpose, simplicity, and integrity. Living according to nature is not a philosophical exercise. It is a daily practice. Each decision, each action, each thought can bring you closer to alignment. Over time, this alignment becomes the foundation of unshakable confidence, a calm presence, and enduring resilience. Principle number 11. Cultivate detachment and freedom from external validation. Quiet confidence thrives in independence, not financial independence alone, but emotional and mental independence. Stoicism teaches that the opinions, approval, and recognition of others are beyond your control. Attaching your worth to them is a fast track to anxiety, disappointment, and unrest. Seneca advised that true freedom comes from desiring only what is within your control, your actions, your judgments, your intentions. Everything else, praise, criticism, fortune, misfortune, belongs to the external world. When you release attachment to these, your mind becomes unshakable. Detachment does not mean indifference or lack of care. It means clarity of focus. You care about your work, your relationships, and your goals, but you do not rely on others to validate your efforts. Your satisfaction comes from knowing you acted rightly, in accordance with reason and virtue. Consider how many lives are consumed by comparison. People chase approval, recognition, and status only to find emptiness. Stoicism flips this script. Instead of asking, "Do they see my value?" the Stoic asks, "Am I acting with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance?" The answer becomes your metric, not applause. Detachment also provides resilience. Criticism, slander, or rejection loses power over you because your self-worth is anchored in your principles rather than in transient opinions. External events cannot destabilize your peace. You respond thoughtfully instead of defensively. This practice requires consistent self-reflection. Notice when you seek approval unnecessarily. Ask yourself, am I acting for myself or am I acting to be seen? Gradually, you learn to choose action for its own merit, not for how it will be perceived. Detachment also extends to material possessions. Stoicism reminds us that wealth, luxury, and comfort are external and impermanent. Excessive attachment to them leads to fear and anxiety, fear of loss, fear of scarcity, fear of judgment. By practicing moderation and recognizing the ephemeral nature of possessions, you gain emotional freedom. When you combine detachment from both opinions and possessions, your confidence becomes quiet, steady, and self-contained. You no longer seek to impress or dominate. You act with purpose and calm. Others notice not because you demand attention, but because your composure and integrity shine naturally. In short, detachment is liberation. It allows you to focus on what truly matters, your values and actions. Remain steady amid praise or criticism. Protect your peace from external turbulence. Build a life guided by reason rather than approval. This lesson sets the stage for the final principle, where Stoicism teaches the integration of all wisdom into a life of purpose, resilience, and fulfillment. Principle number 12. Integrate Stoic wisdom into a life of purpose and confidence. After exploring the first 11 lessons, we arrive at the culmination of Stoic practice, integration. Quiet confidence is not built from isolated principles. It emerges when all Stoic teachings work together to shape your thoughts, actions, and presence. Stoicism is a philosophy of action, reflection, and alignment. You have learned to define a firm purpose, guard your mind against negativity, handle criticism wisely, transform offense into opportunity, Master emotion without suppression. Practice patience and long-term vision. Act with integrity when no one is watching. Exercise restraint and know when not to act. Accept reality without resignation. Live in alignment with nature and reason. Detach from external validation. Lesson 12 is about synthesizing these principles into daily living. Quiet confidence comes from habitual alignment. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions working together under reason and virtue. It is not loud or boastful. It is steady, resilient, and deliberate. Integration requires reflection and repetition. Each morning, remind yourself of your purpose. Throughout the day, notice when emotions, impulses, or external events threaten your composure. Respond with reason. When decisions arise, ask, does this align with my values? Is this consistent with Stoic virtue? Over time, these reflections become automatic. The power of integration also lies in resilience. Challenges no longer derail you because you approach life holistically. Setbacks are evaluated rationally. Offense is met with understanding. Criticism is weighed and filtered. Your internal compass guides you consistently regardless of external turbulence. Moreover, integration deepens relationships. When your words and actions are aligned with virtue, honesty, and integrity, others trust and respect you naturally. You lead by example, not by force or intimidation. Your presence becomes a stabilizing force in the lives of those around you. Finally, integration brings fulfillment. Life is not about chasing fleeting rewards or validation. It is about living in harmony with your principles, your nature, and the natural world. Purpose, patience, emotional mastery, and ethical action combine to produce a sense of calm, inner strength, and unstoppable confidence. Quiet confidence is the sum of all Stoic practices. It is firm yet flexible. It is compassionate yet disciplined. It is active yet calm. It is grounded in reason, virtue, and purpose. By living in this way, you no longer react to the chaos of life. You navigate it. You no longer wait for validation. You trust yourself. You no longer fear the unknown. You face it with courage. This is the essence of Stoicism. This is the power of quiet confidence. When you apply these 12 lessons consistently, life transforms. You move through challenges with composure, act with integrity even when unseen, and cultivate an inner peace that cannot be shaken. The world may remain unpredictable, but your mind, character, and spirit become steadfast. Now is the time to reflect, practice, and live these lessons. Quiet confidence is not a destination. It is a way of being. Before you go, do me one small favor. Like this video if it resonated with you. Share it with someone who is ready to grow in resilience and purpose. Comment your affirmation below. My actions, not my words, define my confidence. Subscribe to this channel for more Stoic guidance to strengthen your mind, character, and spirit. By embracing these principles and committing to daily practice, you allow Stoicism to guide you toward a life of resilience, purpose, and true fulfillment. Your quiet confidence becomes your greatest power, and the world will see it, not in your words, but in the results you achieve.